So, ladies and gentlemen, to be a character actress in the 1950s and 60s, you had to provide a diverse aspect of personalities and looks. Now, this lady had probably one of the most beautiful women that ever worked on TV. She was a dangerous to Pring on the very famous Star Trek episode Amok Time that almost took down the Federation with, Martel appeared on the small and big screen. Everybody watched and everybody enjoyed and everybody benefited from her great talent. Now, she was born on April 14, 1936 in the Bronx. Grew up quite poor before getting her big break. Career as Arlene Sachs. She was called Martel the Chameleon because her appearance and her proficiency with accents and dialects enabled her to portray characters of a wide range of race and ethnicities. Now, she played everything from normal Americans to international intrigue ladies to comedy parts, especially in shows like The Monkees. Now, again, she was the daughter of Austrian Jewish immigrants and attended the Performing Arts High School in New York, on which the movie graduated in 1953. Now, I guess there was a patron that helped pay for her studying. She later studied method acting and was a member of the Actors Studio, and allegedly that's when she became a paramour, a female paramour of James Dean. Now, again, she was billed as Arlene Sachs during the early years. Now, two of her earliest appearances were ones that stand out in the first phase of her career and were in the Twilight Zone. The first was the episode What You Need as a beautiful woman in a bar. The second was the episode 22 as a nurse who repeatedly utters a sinister and at the door of a doomed airplane. Now, this episode was shot on videotape, but her beauty was stunning in this episode, but an evil stunning. Now, she eventually appeared in a 1960 episode of the Rebel called The Hunted, in which she played one of her many key iconic characters. In that episode, she had a scene with Leonard Nimoy before he reunited again in an iconic episode, Amok Time, where there were paramours, where basically Spock was betrothed to T'Pring, and T'Pring to take over her life. She was also featured in two 1961 episodes of Route 66, Legacy for Lucia, in which she had the title role of a Sicilian girl who inherits an American soldier's estate, and A Newborn, in which she played a mother who dies in childbirth. She also appeared in the TV series Hong Kong in 61, opposite the great Rod Taylor. In 62, she made her first of two appearances on Perry Mason as Fiona Cregan in The Case of the Absent Artist. In 66, she guest starred as Sandra Dunkel in The Case of the Dead Ringer. Raymond Burr played the murderer Grimes. Now, she got in the westerns as well. She played the Princess Seraphina in Have Gun With Travel, a female cosmonaut on I Dream of Jeannie, a Hungarian immigrant on the Fugitive episode, The Blessings of Liberty, the French Resistance, Logan Heroes, and the evil witch Malvina on the Bewitched episode, How Not to Lose Your Head to King Henry VIII, Part 1, in 1971. Now, science fiction roles include The Outer Limits, Demon with a Glass Hand, and of course Star Trek Amok Time, as a scheming and betrothed to Mr. Spock and expected to become his consort, but she sets it up to have Kirk take the fall, and of course Kirk does take the fall, but we found out later McCoy had faked it. Now on Columbo, Martel played Gloria West, mistress of murder's victim Tony Goodland, played by Branford Dillman, in season 2, and the salesgirl, the episode A Friend Indeed. Now, in 74, she was billed as Tasha Martel for the role of Secretary Marty Bach in the Rockford Files episode Trouble in Chapter 17. She appeared as a title character in a Gunsmoke episode The Squaw. In 75, Martel appeared, including The Restless Gun, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Monkees, The Untouchables, Mission Impossible, Here Comes the Brides, The Wild Wild West, Battlestar Galactica, Mannix, The Rookies, and A $6 Million Man. In the fourth season of Mission Impossible, she was reunited with Leonard Nimoy in the episode Terror, where she played terrorist's ruthless wife. Now, Martel also appeared in feature films, including Angels from Hell of 68 and Chatterbox in 77. She also received top billing as a commandant in charge of a Russian road crew in Zoltan, Hound of Dracula in 78, although it was only a bit part lasting less than 5 minutes. From acting in the mid-80s, she continued to act sporadically. She appeared in several TV episodes and some unsold TV pilots in the early 2000s. She said that even in her early career, she got the most out of her work by word of mouth, not through talent agents. In her later years, she often said, "I don't have a good agent who will get me to plum roles." Late life roles, including again the Vulcan Princess or Priestess in the Star Trek fan film of Gods and Men, in a scene with her Amok Time suitor Lawrence Montegani, reprising his role as Stan, as one of the narrators of the 2005 documentary film Unity, which was released a year after her death. Now, Martel married and divorced 3 times to Robert Palmer, which we had a son Adam, and her second marriage was to actor Jerry Douglas, with whom she had 2 children, Avra Douglas and journalist and designer John Kaftan. Her third marriage was to Matthew Shawn, and she had 3 grandchildren. In her later years, she became a screenwriter. She wrote a play, Whisper into My Good Ear, based on William Hanley's one-act play of the same title. She began work on a second screenplay, Mrs. Daly Has a Lover, also based on a Hanley play. However, neither were produced. Martel was a regular at Star Trek conventions worldwide from 72 to 2014. Her last convention appearance was at Trex Tracks Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia, on April 25th to 27, 2014, 4 months before her death. She had battled breast cancer for the last 5 years of her life, and on October 12, 2014, she died from heart bypass at a hospital in Santa Monica, California, at the age of 78. Now, for me, Martel really stands out because she had to basically do a job that not too many people could do, to play different roles. Now, to my knowledge, she was probably the hardest working female character actor of her era. I think there was over 50 TV shows she appeared in, either in episodic or multiple roles back to back. But what stands out for me, of course, is the 2 Twilight Zones. And if you look at Amok Time, you look at her acting, just with a glance and with a verbiage, she basically, Eartha Kitt, Julie Newmar, Lee Meriwether of that style, all 3 great actresses. She had a kitten aspect to her, like of her heavy beauty. Again, one of the most natural beauties of all time. But there was a brain, and that brain could play any role, and she would just like Jeanette Nolan, she would escape in her part. Jeanette Nolan was a very beautiful lady, but Jeanette Nolan could play a witch or a nun, depending on what was called upon, very easily. And Arlene, again, that 22 episode, first time I saw that, and this was 50 plus years after it was produced, it scared the living shit out of me. So, room for one more, honey. That's a nightmare continuing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing with our TV podcast under screenshots and remote control, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe. Any thoughts about Arlene Martel? What's your favorite memory? Please let us know. And she is missed. I think the new Star Trek series would have brought her in, especially Picard, because she could fit any role. Thanks for listening. Bye.